May I just welcome you back, my brother?
Thank you, Lee.
From the
Always
United
great
States.
to be with you.
We've had a hell of a long relationship, and I've ruthlessly used your international leverage on many occasions. Cardiff Free in the late 80s, Roland Adams, who's Mom Audrey, you met early on, and the Stephen Lawrence cases. It was really as using your international leverage, and you give me the idea. So that's why I went to get Mandela to come from Stephen Lawrence's, because I said, well, hell, if Sharpton can do that for Roland Adams, here's what we can do for Stephen Lawrence. So you've been a great inspiration to me. I've watched your career when you've been at the top, and I've watched you continue it even at the bottom. And you've been a born survivor. So I'm very pleased for you to be one of my great political mentors.
Well, I'm very honored always to be with you, and I never come to England without checking in with you. And people need to know you're huge outside of England, so you personify activism.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about your time with President Obama. Obviously, fantastic time. What's your reflections and thoughts after 8 years in the presidency?
I think that he achieved more than he was given credit. Here's a man that when he became president, the United States was losing 750,000 jobs a month. He turned it around when he left. On average, they were doing 220,000 plus.
Wow.
And he saved the economy, and he did a lot for our people that he never got credit. He started police reform at that executive branch level. And very cerebral, thoughtful man. And the sad part is the backlash of Donald Trump is to try to undo and remove everything he did. And we're trying to resist it with all we have.
Trying to protect that legacy.
That's the legacy and the lifeline he's given our people.
Because the thing on his healthcare reform, I thought that's something that Bill Clinton and former presidents could not achieve.
3 or 4 presidents tried to achieve it. He got it through, and 26 million people that never had health insurance got it because of Barack Obama. First thing Trump went after was that. Police reform, criminal justice reform, commuting sentences for low-level, non-violent drug offenders. And it's the same thing they're doing in the UK here. Stop and frisk in America, stop and search here. The disproportionate amount of marijuana arrest here. Same there. These are the kinds of things that you see the Western world is trying to push back with a global white backlash, which is why it's important that people like you and I keep our bond, because it's a global fight.
Absolutely, absolutely. And your election of Trump must have come as a horror. I saw lots of Black Lives Matter activists. They were critical of Obama during that period. I've now watched Trump for the last 18 months. I'm seeing no voices from our community against him. What are yours or anybody else? Where did the radicalism go? We were strong for a black man.
Held them accountable, but only, like you say, a few of us out there holding Trump accountable. But we've got to do what we've got to do. And you've had to struggle alone. But I think that he's intimidated a lot of people, and some of us are not going to be intimidated. We fought too hard.
Absolutely.
We're not going down like that.
Absolutely. And what's the future for you? Where are you going? What are you doing other than your TV show and running your foundation?
We're still running National Action Network. In fact, we've expanded. We had the largest convention we ever had.
Wow.
I'm going to keep my media platforms because somebody's got to be the canary in the coal mine. And I think that, and it's a global hookup. When you look at from Trump to what's going on in Italy, what's going on in Germany, what's going on here in England, it's one ideology. So we have a beautiful wedding where you put a black in the royal family, but at the same time you have the Windrush scandal where they're bringing a black in the royal family and pushing out blacks to help that are children of people that help save this country.
Absolutely. And that's the scandal, I think, for us in the United Kingdom, is that the deep social contract of whether you can be black and British is fundamentally broken when people who have worked here for 50 years suddenly arrested and deported for no other reason than their colour of their skin. And we're very concerned, and we want to deepen our alliance with our African American colleagues, because post-Brexit we see racism rising throughout Europe. We can tell it's a worldwide revival of white supremacy. There's no doubt about that being led by Trump. And we want to make sure that as far as the black 20 million African people of descent in Europe and African Americans have that alliance so that we can work together.
We must work together, and if we are all strategizing together as they do, then we will be able to counter in every area, because we'd be able, the Congressional Black Caucus in America ought to be coming down on these trade deals.
That's right.
We need these alliances, exchange information, and have a global strategy.
Well, I think the National Action Network should call a global conference on how the African diaspora worldwide tackles white supremacy, because we would bring a delegation to that meeting.
Well, we're going to do it. We're going to work on that.
We're going to talk about it. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. Always good. My brother Lee.
I guess I ought to begin by welcoming you all to the House, to the Houses of Parliament. I guess we should call this our house, right? We belong here. We help build this in many, many ways, right? And it's fitting that the Prime Minister's down the road having parliamentary question time, that we're having our own question time. I'm honoured to say that she's been a friend of Operation Black Vote, been a friend of mine. I have to call her up too and let off a bit of steam. Give a warm welcome for Diane.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, comrades, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We'll try that again. Ladies and gentlemen, comrades, distinguished guests, good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. And first and foremost, let me welcome the Reverend Al Sharpton, one of the black leaders of his generation. And we last met in Harlem, and so now you're here in London. And I'm hoping to spend some quality time with you this evening. I first of all, and I'm not going to speak for very long, but I first of all wanted to remind you of Grenfell Tower. Grenfell Tower is a project, 22 stories high, and it went up in flames nearly a year ago. And I think it's about 72 people who died. We'll remember the photographs, and the photographs we continue to see of the people who died in Grenfell Tower and the people who survived. And of course, they are all people of colour and migrants. And the fact that those families could die such a cruel death, which was caused in the end by a lack of attention to fire safety and to quality of their environment. The fact that they could die such a cruel death, almost a medieval death, in the richest borough, in one of the richest cities in the world, points to what a divided society we still live in.
And into areas of long-term decline and urban decay and poverty, we have the infusion of drugs and open drugs market. Cole Harbour Lane must be worth £500 million a year in terms of the drug sales that take place in that area. You go to Tottenham, you go to Croydon, you go to Peckham, what do you see? Open drug markets that are in exactly the same place as black community unemployment is at its highest. And when those drug markets get violent, and inevitably the currency of criminality is violence to protect one's profits, to protect one's reputation, that violence bleeds into our community more generally, and everybody on the block becomes frightened and scared that they may become a victim of a crime by young people exhibiting violence. And so they start to carry weapons to protect themselves, because their mothers are saying to them, I'd prefer to visit you in jail than visit your graveside. Take that knife, because I don't believe the police will protect you. That's the situation we've left our young people in, and we have to respond to that. We can't deny it. We can't blame white society for all of the ills that face our young people without taking some personal responsibility as fathers and mothers and brothers and sisters to grab hold of our young people and say, we love you, we want to save you, we will do whatever we can in order to secure your future. But right now, those kids are looking at a bleakless future with the unemployment rate, the exclusion rate, the homeless rate. I didn't begin to talk about the police deporting their parents right through Windrush. And so these issues mean that we have got to be bolder in the solutions that we suggest to government. We spent 30 years warning, if we don't have radical solutions to our problem, racism will get worse. People have said, you're too radical, Lee. You're talking too much. No, what we just need is a mentoring scheme and an employment scheme and more of this little thing and more of that little thing, and it'll be fine. And right now, racial inequality in the United Kingdom is at its highest level of ever being recorded. Who said so? The chair of the Equality and Human Rights Commission. What's his name? David Isaacs. What did he say? If racial inequality continues to grow at the present rate, I fear for social unrest and discord in this society. Quote, end quote. So if a white guy who's the head of the Equalities Commission can figure out that racial inequality and racism is impinging on our community to such an unbearable extent as to provoke social crisis, why the hell can't we recognize that our children are facing a storm of racism post-Brexit that we've never seen in this country since the end of the World War? So I call upon you not to be just the articulators of our problem. We can't just do that. Black Sox believes, and it's 30 years of experience, Black Sox believes we have to self-fund ourselves out of our own situation. If you're waiting for town hall, the man at the town hall, to come down and write a check to save your children's lives, then you're a bigger chump than he is, and you're putting yourself and your child in danger. There should be no greater priority for any generation than securing the future for its children. Are we right?